All right, my profitable franchise formula, and this is part. This is actually a module from our Zero to Profitable Franchise System as well. So here's what we're going to cover: my profitable franchise formula. And so the way that I came up with this was, here's what happened. So I opened up the store in California from scratch. We get it profitable in 2 months, and overall it was smooth sailing pretty much the entire time with that store. Felt really easy. And I thought, man, after being recognized on the top franchisee panel, and our store was just crushing a lot of the numbers and ranked top 10 in the country. And I thought, wow, this is pretty easy. And so when we bought the turnaround resale in Florida, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to, come in and work my magic. I was thinking, I was feeling good about myself. Let's just say that. And what happened was that store was very difficult the entire time. It took me a year of being really hands-on, working 50, 60 hours a week to get that store turned around. Eventually, a year later, increased sales by 35%. And it took a lot of work to do it. And it was very, very hard. And so I was trying to understand, why was it so hard this time? That it was the same exact brand, right? Same exact franchise. I had done this 2,500 miles away. And it's when I asked myself that question, what was the difference? And when I started to realize the other franchises that were out there, started talking to other franchisees that were very successful in a variety of different franchises, I realized that being successful in a franchise system really came down to only 4 specific things. And that if you did these 4 specific things as a part of your buying strategy, you can, of course, there are no guarantees in life, but you can significantly increase your likelihood and probability of success. So that's how I came up with it. So let's talk about the profitable franchise formula. So we need to find a business that aligns with the profitable franchise formula. We'll call it PFF, maybe for ease. And look, there are no guarantees in life. Business is no different. With that said, the profitable franchise formula is proven. It's worked for me. It's now worked for many, many of our clients. It's a very effective way to then go about making your decision. So when you use all of the aspects of this formula, the probability of you getting your franchise profitable quickly increases significantly. This will be the secret to your success. And we'll dive into each one more and how to use each one strategically to help increase your profitability. So the first one is belief, right? Which is you need to choose a business that you 100% believe in. And look, some of this stuff may sound like common sense. It may sound super easy. But most people don't consciously check it off. So it's very different when you're consciously using this as your criteria. And so you want to choose a business that you believe in the product or service, even if you choose the business because that's where your skill set is from, your professional background. That's okay. As long as you feel good about the product or service, that's all that matters. Remember, owning a franchise could just be your start into your entrepreneurial world. Your priority is to get free, get profitable, and get free. Passion projects don't always pay the bills. So focus less on passion and more on belief. Beliefs typically lead to passion, right? But passion doesn't lead to beliefs in the long term. This business now of me helping people find and buy franchises and do due diligence, I had no passion in this. I did not want to do this business. But I had a strong belief that people needed help. And as I started making content online for free, people kept reaching out, asking for help. So I had this strong belief that it was my duty to help them and to help you. And so what happened was the more and more I got involved, the more passionate I wind up getting, right? So do not choose a business just because you think you can make a lot of money. It's a recipe for disaster. Choose a business that you'd feel proud to own because you're solving a problem or providing a really great product or service. And so, as an example, we had in our Zero to Profitable franchise system, we have these group coaching calls that I run where people can come and ask questions, and I'll coach them, answer them, and they're all of our clients that are in our system, and they get to learn from each other. And so one of the guys in our system said, I'm looking at this, a couple of these home services franchises, and I just, I don't know. I don't really get excited about that sort of business. And I'm like, okay, cool. Totally get it. But maybe what you do get excited about isn't really a viable business opportunity for you, or will work, or has the level of risk that you feel comfortable with. So some of this is just a mental reframe, which is maybe you get excited about the business because you see that everyone, all the competitors in your area, have terrible reviews, or you've mystery shopped them and you had them come out and deliver quotes, and their service was terrible. And so what you get excited about and what you have a belief about is being the best and providing the best service and the best experience for customers. And so that's what gets you excited. That's what you believe in when you're starting a business. It doesn't have to be that, okay, as an example, we talked about that roofing franchise, right? So, okay, maybe you're not excited about, building roofs, but maybe you had a roof leak before and you know how much of a pain in the butt that was. And maybe you had a bad experience with a roofing company. Or you've heard people in your community or your neighbors talk about how they got ripped off. And so you're going into this with this belief and mindset of, hey, I want to be the good guy out there, and I want to go out and get as many customers as possible, help as many people as possible, because I know that I'll treat them right and I'll do the right thing. All right. So this is part of the reframe of choosing your business. It doesn't have to be something that you're excited about. And what happens is if you just try to choose a business that you think makes a lot of money, but you really don't have a belief or connection in every franchise, there are franchises that fail and close and that are mediocre performers. So if you wind up being one of those ones that are struggling, and you only bought it because you thought you were going to make a lot of money, well, that puts you in a really, really tough spot because now you're not making money and you hate the business. So you want to, really focus on a business that you believe in, then that it meets the financial criteria that you're looking for. So next after belief is skill sets. So ultimately, no matter how great a franchise sounds, always bring it back to the profitable franchise formula. And so the skills is, hey, do the skill sets of the primary role of the owner match your skill sets? And so that's referencing something in the Zero to Profitable franchise system, which is doing an audit of your skill sets, right? So really noting down, hey, what are you good at? And can you see yourself owning this business? What does a day in the life in the business look like, right? You'll get the answers to this through the calls with the franchisor, but you'll get the real answers on the validation calls with franchisees. And the truth of it is really somewhere in between. And so you really want to look at, okay, the role of the owner. In the beginning, maybe you have to be good at sales. Like maybe that's part of the business, right? And if that's something that terrifies you and you're not good at, the question is, okay, either can you learn that skill set or hire it, right? So you do need to do a skill set audit to really realize, okay, is this putting you in the best position to succeed? And if you don't have the skill set for that role, could that be your first hire? And so typically in business, what you want to do is you want to hire your opposite as the way to start getting yourself free first. So if you're someone who's not great with details and you're more of a visionary idea person, then you want to hire someone in an operational administrative role to cover you. If you're really good at admin and operations, you need to hire someone that's really good at sales and marketing, because you could be great at operations, but at the end of the day, you have nothing to operate if you don't have a lot of customers, right? So skill set's important. The third one is demand. Demand is one of the most important ones because it's the only one that you could only get that one right and still do well and be profitable. So you want to understand and do an audit of what the local demand and competition looks like. It's super key. You have to get a sense of demand as much as you can. So remember when I was talking about my location, California and Florida? Well, in California, we didn't have a competitor within 5 miles, a 5-mile radius. This was part of the reason why I chose that location. I instinctively knew if we were having to go a couple of exits away to get this product, other people were too, which meant there was pent-up demand. If there was pent-up demand, when we opened, that demand would flood to our store. Bingo, I was 100% correct, and which is why we did $30,000 in sales our second month and got profitable. So, again, we were driving 2 to 3 exits to get the product. To me, clear sign that there was demand. Then I actually went in and did tactical research and analysis from a number standpoint. And I was right. That store is now doing $750,000 a year in sales. Like, it ramped up pretty quickly. And so with the resale franchise in Florida, I didn't really know the market. And when I had my due diligence on that business lasted a long time because we were waiting to sell our house. And what happened was towards the end, I hadn't got caught up on due diligence, and there were 4 to 5 competitors. Actually, there was a good 3 competitors just in a 2-mile radius. And so what happened? It was a grind to grow sales in that location. It took me a year, just increased by 35%. And I had to work my tail off. It was incredibly difficult. And so competition does matter. Now, don't let competition freak you out too much because sometimes your product and your service is better, right? And so there's an opportunity for you to go in and use that to your advantage. In this case, there were unique aspects where we weren't known in the marketplace. We were like we were the only store of our brand open in that market. All of our other competitors were everywhere. They were well known. People didn't know us. And again, being first matters, but only to a degree. And so the fourth one is profit potential. And so the more demand, the more opportunity for you in your business, right? Profit potential, get an idea of how much money you might be able to make in the business. So you'll never have certainty around exactly how much money you'll make. You just won't know until you start because every franchisee performs at a different level financially, right? And the way you run your business is different from someone else. You and another franchisee could have a $500,000 a year business, but they run their labor tighter. They're an owner-operator. They're in the business every day, and so they make a 30% profit margin. You are not an owner-operator. You have a manager in place. You keep your job, and so maybe you only run at a 10% profit margin, right? So it's not apples to apples, and you need to understand those things. So you can get a strong idea of the profit potential of the business through 3 things. Number 1 is item 19 in the FDD, which in the next section, we're going to talk about sales and profit margins. We're going to look at some franchises. It's going to be really exciting. And so we'll actually look through some item 19 so you can get an idea of what that looks like through creating a pro forma, which is financial projections, and franchisee validation calls, which is talking to existing franchise owners and really diving in and understanding how the business is doing. So now that you have a good sense of how to find the right franchise, let's dive into the different profit margins of some of the different franchises. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.